Hello John, so I am Gilles from the YouTube channel Matière Profit. Thanks for accepting our invitation. So to begin with, can you introduce yourself and your company ABRASILVER?
Okay, bonjour Gilles, pleasure to be here. Thank you very much for the invitation. Yes, I introduce myself, John Miniotis. I'm the president and CEO of ABRASILVER. I've been running the company for the last 5 or so years now, just over 5 years. I have about 2 decades experience in the mining industry. And so about 20 years, my focus has really been on the capital markets and corporate development side of the business. Also very fortunate. We have a very strong team around me, both on the exploration side and now also on the project development and execution side as well. So very strong framework moving ABRASILVER forward. In terms of the company, high-level overview, we have a world-class silver and gold project. This is called Diablo. It's an advanced stage exploration project, large-scale, over 250 million ounces of silver equivalent at the moment. It's near-surface silver and gold, and we're rapidly moving this project forward to a construction decision before the end of next year. And so this is a very large-scale, compelling opportunity that we're rapidly advancing and adding value for our shareholders.
Well, great. So yes, can you tell us more about this Diablo project and the recent gold intercept that was announced on May 20?
Correct. Yeah, so Diablo, again, we've been drilling this, advancing it year by year, have been steadily growing the resource. And just recently, about a month ago, as you mentioned, in May, we announced the best ever gold intercept that we've ever announced on this project on a grade thickness basis. It was approximately 30 meters of 10 grams per ton of gold in oxides. This is near surface, open pittable, so very straightforward to process and to
very
mine.
Easy to process.
Correct.
Not energy intensive.
Correct. Yeah. No, this is very good recoveries, open pittable in oxides near the boundary of the pit, where we had proposed the pit towards the northeast. So this really represents now a new zone that we have not been focused on drilling. Over the last several years, we're focused on another zone to the southwest of this deposit, and we've been steadily growing that, and that's had remarkably high-grade silver intercepts. So we've been consistently announcing great silver intercepts towards the southwestern extension of this deposit, and now that we drilled this first hole towards the northeast, it's very nice to see very high-grade gold, and we also hit high-grade silver. And so now we're changing our exploration focus, focusing more on this new northeast zone, and a lot more results to come over the next several months here.
Okay, to be announced then. I've also read that you have brought the Worley limited company for doing engineering research or projects. What's the long-term view after this? What's your objective?
Yeah. So we've announced that we're moving towards a definitive feasibility study.
Yes.
And hiring Worley, which is a well-respected global engineering firm, is certainly a big milestone for us and for our team. They have a lot of experience working in Argentina, and specifically in this part of Argentina, where there's a lot of lithium projects nearby. Worley's very experienced, has a strong team in Argentina and also in North America as well. So they're certainly going to be assisting our team moving this forward into the definitive feasibility study, and then after that, I'll be ready for construction.
So does that mean that in the near future you plan to move from an exploration company to a production company?
Yes, we're in a bit of a transition stage right now. So actually things are moving along in parallel. So of course, we're having, again, great results from the exploration side. So the exploration team's going full steam ahead, drilling and continuing to grow this deposit. But at the same time, Worley and our team are moving forward on the feasibility study. And we're also expect to receive permits here very shortly within the next few months. So we'll be receiving permits, a feasibility study, and also RIGI approval. And once we have those in hand, this will be ready for construction. And then, absolutely. With our team and maybe a few additional hires that we would need to build out our team, I think we'll be ready to build this project in the near future.
Okay. You've also announced copper discovery and another part, I think, like Coipita. Is it part of the Diablo project, or is it?
This is the second asset that we have. This is a different asset that we have. This is in the San Juan province of Argentina, so further south in the country. But this is a large area. And San Juan, on the border with Chile, is known for huge copper porphyries. There's several surrounding our La Coipita project.
And now you're still on the exploration part of that project?
That's earlier stage exploration, and we've actually partnered with Tech there. So Tech has an option to
I was about to ask you a question about that. So if you want, you have a Tech resource partnership with for this project. So again, what's your long-term objective for this mine?
So Tech has an option to earn 80% of this project. So if they spend over $20 million in drilling and make some other payments around that, they would earn 80% and we would be left with a 20% stake. And so it's really a win-win between both companies. So right now Tech is drilling, it's their team advancing this, it's their capital, obviously they're funding the exploration program. So they'll spend the first 20 million. And if they make a large-scale discovery here, which so far they've announced one hole out of this year's program and it was very good, about 0.4% copper, but over 600 plus meter thickness, exceptionally. Exactly. So this is a large scale system, and that's why you need deep pockets to be drilling this.
Okay.
So it's great for our shareholders. So we're not diluting ourselves, raising money, drilling this big porphyry. We have our big brother Tech here doing the work.
But you have ownership of the exploration?
We would own 20% ultimately. So
ultimately, but as of today, how much do you?
As of today, we own 100. So we have 100. An option to earn up to 100, but we've given Tech an option to earn 80.
Okay, great. And obviously that money will be used to fund exploration and production at Diablo's project.
Yes. So all of our cash right now is being used at Diablo's. We're not spending anything at La Coipita. Yes.
Okay. Getting back to the Diablo's project, so you have announced that you have paid in advance royalty payments to a company. I think it was AMX or
EMX. Yes.
EMX.
You're right.
And from what I read in the news, this was an advance payment. What are the reasons and what are your objectives after that?
Yeah. So we have a very strong balance sheet. So earlier this year, we raised about $60 million Canadian, and so we have a very strong balance sheet. We had one last milestone payment to be made to EMX royalties, which was about $7 million US.
Yes.
But we negotiated with them that if we pay it early, we would receive a slight discount.
Reduce the amount to be paid. Okay, that's the main reason why.
So we paid $6.85 million, and I think again it's a win-win. They receive the funds early, we receive a slight discount. Also cleans up the situation. There's no more payments. We own 100%.
For how long do you own the 100%?
Oh, forever. Going forward, there's no more payments whatsoever. So we now own 100%, and so we've cleaned up the structure again. And I think it just it was nice to have that now behind us. And going forward, we officially own 100% with no additional payments. They retain a 1% royalty as well.
Are there any other milestone that investors should be aware of in the coming months? Can you share with us some bits of information, well, maybe not confidential information, but some interesting news about the future? Yeah, no, absolutely. This is a very, very exciting year for our company right now. I think, again, we're firing on all cylinders here. On the exploration side, there's going to be lots of news flow coming out over the weeks and months ahead. Again, there already was. I mean, there's been lots of news. And again, we're drilling with 3 rigs active at site all year. And so, really lots of news on the exploration side. So that will continue. But coming up, we have a resource update coming out very shortly here. Later this summer, we'll be announcing that.
So we're updating the resource estimate. We expect, obviously, the resource is going to grow from the prior estimate. So when I mentioned we have 250 million ounces silver equivalent, we expect to see an uptick there from all the drilling we've done last year. And so resource estimate update coming out very shortly here. On the permitting side, we expect to receive EIA approval. I think that's a major milestone for any company. Getting your permits in place where then you could be ready for a construction decision. And then last but certainly not least is the feasibility study that I mentioned with Worley. We're busy, our team's busy working and advancing that. And that should be ready in Q1 of next year.
Q1 of next year,
yes.
Okay.
So that's a key milestone. Once we have that, along with the permits, this is then subject to project financing, ready to advance to a construction decision.
Well, ABRASILVER is based in Argentina, and we will talk about that in a few, but there has been the introduction of this RIGI regulation to help improve investments in big projects. Can you talk a little bit about this regulation, and do you have plan to participate for the Diablo Project?
Absolutely, yeah. So we're really uniquely positioned to advance Diablos now under this new RIGI incentive regime.
Yes.
And for your viewers that may not be familiar, so this was a new economic incentive regime announced last year in July. And it's in place right now for 2 years. 2 years. So it's currently set to expire in July of next year, 2026. Okay. And so for new large-scale investments that qualify, so you have to spend over $200 million. If you're investing that in the near future here over the coming years, you get significant economic advantages. So reducing tax rates down to 25% instead of 35%. It's a big reduction there. Eliminating all export duties. Right now, export duties are very high in Argentina. If you're exporting gold, you have to pay 8% in export duties, 4.5% for silver. But under new projects that are moving forward under RIGI, which we will certainly be, those export duties go down to zero.
Zero?
So, zero. Wow. So it's hundreds of millions of dollars when you look at
will stay in your pocket.
Yes.
Well, yeah. The shareholders' pocket.
Exactly, in the companies, yeah. So hundreds of millions of dollars of savings there. And then lastly, there's also no more foreign exchange restrictions. That's always been a big hurdle historically for companies looking to invest in Argentina. It's always easy bringing money in, but much more difficult moving money out. That's now changing. And under RIGI, again, there's no more foreign exchange restrictions. And so it's, we're uniquely positioned to benefit from that. Because we've been advancing Diablos now for several years, we've announced the pre-fees, we've already submitted our permits. We expect to fit perfectly within that schedule. Before RIGI expires in July of 2026, we will receive RIGI approval. And then from the time of approval, you have 2 years to spend 40% of capital costs. And so in 2027 is going to be a full construction year here for Diablo.
But you said 200 millions. Do you have the money right now, or do you expect that you will be able to? Yes.
Yeah. So we're fully financed until a construction decision is made. Now to build this, it's going to require about $500+ million in capex.
Yes.
So that will be something we'll need a project financing, but we're already working with some strategic advisors there on the debt side, especially looking out and reviewing some of those options. But in terms of potentially debt, a stream, if we do a stream on either the silver or the gold, and of course equity down the road.
Or a partnership with a big
partnership, a joint venture partner, or ultimately potentially somebody could even acquire us. But we're working on already the project financing here, evaluating all those options, and then of course closer to making a decision, we'll obviously choose the optimal path forward for our shareholders.
Well, among the many news that happened this year, on the 24th of February, there has been a transfer to the Toronto Stock Exchange. Can you tell us briefly what are the implications of moving to the Toronto Stock Exchange, and how you expect it to provide more liquidity and more interest for potential investors?
Yes, so that was certainly another key milestone that we announced fairly recently. So we were previously on the TSX Venture Exchange, and now we've graduated up to the main board.
Can you tell us a little bit about the difference between the TSX Venture Exchange and the normal TSX?
Yeah.
What are the differences?
It's typically TSX Ventures, more smaller cap companies.
Yes.
That's, I mean, obviously the big companies in Canada trade on the TSX, on the main board. And so we graduated. So we were voted one of the top 50 TSX Venture companies last year in 2024. So that was a nice milestone for us. And now with the financing that we did earlier this year and with the support of institutional shareholders, we were able to graduate and uplist to the main board. And so really the benefits are more liquidity, more visibility, a lot of larger funds typically only invest in some of the TSX listed companies. Some may not invest in TSXV. So we've seen our liquidity improve, we've seen volume improve, and again, makes it easier for some of our international funds, even based out of here in Paris, etc. The European funds, easier for them to buy shares on the main board.
So did you see, you saw a rise, a jump in the number of shares being traded daily or following your introduction?
There's been a nice uptick. It wasn't transformational, but it's been nice. I mean, the volume's been good. Obviously, silver price is doing well with us announcing great exploration results as well. Those have all been drivers. So it wasn't only the TSX uplisting, but certainly it certainly has helped without question.
With all the news flow happening right now for ABRASILVER, do you plan additional private placements in the near future or not?
No. So we're fully funded. With the 60 million that we raised earlier this year, we're fully funded until a construction decision. Again, when we need to build this, that's a different story. Obviously, we're looking at project financing options for that. But we're fully funded for all of 2025 and 2026 until a construction decision is made.
Yes, okay. Now let's talk back about Argentina. How is it about doing business in Argentina as a election of Milei change things for the best or for the worst for you guys in ABRASILVER?
Yes, Argentina has been a radical sort of positive transformation here over the last several years. So President Javier Milei, again, was elected less than 2 years ago now, but his policies have been, for reducing regulations and stimulating new investments moving forward. And RIGI, again, was that key economic incentive regime. And so that's very positive. You've seen lots of development there. Over $12 billion worth of new projects have applied for RIGI, and it applies across it, not just mining, but of course mining's very capital intensive, so mining of course benefits. But recently on the mining side, you've seen Rio Tinto receive RIGI approval for their large Rincon project, which is lithium. That's also in Salta, so it's in our province, and it's a multi-billion-dollar project moving forward. So you're seeing lots of new projects moving forward now in Argentina, I'd say more than ever. And then recently, of course, BHP and Lundin Mining acquiring Filo del Sol, which is a world-class copper project, again, multi-billion-dollar project that's moving forward. Los Azules is moving forward. There's, Rio Tinto again is moving forward and into the construction stage here. So you're seeing lots of major companies now investing in Argentina and moving these projects forward to capture those benefits being offered under RIGI. And really, when you look on the precious metal side, so silver and gold, we are the only silver project that we know of that qualifies for RIGI, just given how advanced stage we are.
That's why I would not be surprised to see a partnership merging of some sort in the future. Now, to talk back about the stock of ABRASILVER, it has been performing quite well, especially over the last few months. I'm a happy shareholder.
Great.
For those of us who are not yet shareholders, do you still think it's time to buy the stocks, and if so, why?
Yeah, no, it's absolutely a great time right now. As I mentioned, the company has really never been stronger. There's no question about it. When you look at it from a cash position, we have about $50 million in cash. Very, very strong balance sheet. On the exploration side, this new drill hole from the Oculto East area really opens up now, a new focus for the company. So lots of upside we see moving forward. And then with RIGI and the permits and the resource update, we have lots and lots of catalysts ahead. So from the company standpoint, we're executing right now on all cylinders, and we expect lots of momentum here as we finalize this year and move into next year to a construction decision. So lots of catalysts upcoming. But then importantly, on the silver and gold side as well. Gold's been performing very, very strongly for the last several years now. Silver's been lagging, and had difficulty breaking above $35.
Right.
It was very frustrating for the last several years. Every time it got close to $35,
and going back down.
Correct. Now it's finally, just recently, within the last few days here, has finally broken above $35, now trading. So really renewed interest that we're seeing. A lot of investors that did not want to invest in this space are really looking for opportunities. And I think we really stand out, given that we're advanced stage, again, benefiting from Riggy here in Argentina, moving this project forward, and in parallel announcing world-class exploration results. There are very few silver projects, I'd say, of this magnitude moving forward at this time globally. So it's, I think we're very, very uniquely positioned to benefit. And as things continue to progress and we continue to de-risk, I see much stronger share price levels ahead of us here.
Good. Well, that was to be the last question that I have. Gold has been performing quite well in the beginning of the year. Now, indeed, silver is catching up. And do you have any expectation for the price of those two precious metals going onwards?
Yeah, so I mean, look, we don't do sort of price forecasting on our own,
but
of course I listen to
you're
the
uniquely
experts.
Positioned to give your view.
So yeah, I listen to all the experts, and clearly, I mean, there's lots of opinions out there that once silver broke through $35, there was no resistance to test back the highs until 50. So that's what we saw back in 2011.
Right.
And similar things can absolutely happen. When you looked at the gold-silver ratio as well, I mean, gold's been performing well.
It was 100 up until just 2 weeks ago.
Exactly. So you can really see silver catch up. But I think from our perspective, look, we have about 50% of our revenue coming from silver, 50% from gold. So either way, I see strong, commodity prices ahead. Gold with lots of central bank demand, and obviously all the uncertainty globally is driving investors more and more toward gold. Silver is very similar, but it also has the industrial application as well. And there's a shortage. There's about $200 million ounces per year of demand, which exceeds supply.
It has been going on for quite some time.
4 years, 5 years now. Every year there's been 200. So yeah, demand is about 1 billion ounces of silver, and globally we're producing about 800 million or so ounces. And so that's not a sustainable situation. And even Diablilos, I mean, one of the few projects moving forward in the near term, within the foreseeable future, but that's not even going to make a dent. We're not going to produce, obviously, even close to 200 million ounces a year. So we'd be a small fraction of that. And so, where's the demand, or where's the supply going to come from? I think with that situation, you're going to see much higher silver prices ahead. So for me, if we retest those 2011 highs of $50 silver here in the near term, I would not be surprised whatsoever. And I think we'd really be poised to benefit from that.
Well, thank you, John, for taking the time to answer your question.
Oh, it's my pleasure. Thanks again. Let's say 30% of the project. We only have to fund now 70% of our $500 million capex. So we use those funds, we pay our portion, they fund their own 30% of the project. And then, of course, we're going to have to raise debt. We're going to have to look at streaming. We've had lots of meetings with all the major streaming companies, Franco-Nevada, Wheaton Precious, Royal Gold, etc. So we're going to look to put together project financing and finalize that next year. But the first discussion is with our partner. Are we building 100% of this on our own, or do they want a joint venture? And I think we'll look at all those options at the right time. Or again, maybe we're acquired and somebody else ends up building this. But we're obviously moving this forward, not even thinking about an acquisition. We're thinking about let's build this ourselves, move forward, de-risk it. So we'll evaluate those options and then come out with a solution by early next year.
Guillaume first and Sarah after. Guillaume.
You mentioned the announcement on updated resources to be in the second semester.
Yes.
Is it going to be in the middle or in July? July.
Yeah.
So, and if it's in July, very close, we are close to the announcement.
Yes.
I believe it's going to move the needle at the short-term categories.
Yeah, well, great question. So so for those of you who couldn't hear, so for the resource estimate, the first question was about the timeline. We've already drilled these holes. We already have them now, so we're already working on this. This will be announced in July. We're pretty close to July now. We're already working on finalizing this. I don't know exactly which week in July, but let's say before the end of July, this will be announced. And will this move the needle? Absolutely, because right now the pre-feasibility study, all the analysts, again, their target prices were based on our pre-feasibility study, which is based on this resource. And so nobody has valued, nobody's assuming that we've grown the resource and then remodeling this. But once we announce the resource, all those analysts then have sufficient information to put that update in their model, recalculate their target price. I think their target price goes up. You know, you could expect the share price over time would be positive as well. So it's
with the underlying moving up right now for sharply.
Yes.
You combine, I mean, this updating with the price target of analysis is going to be to develop.
And importantly, the big thing is right now we're drilling. The drilling we're doing is not even going to be in this resource. So the drilling where we hit that high-grade gold intercept, that's for the next resource. That's for next year's resource. But if we announce a couple more holes like this, again, we have 2 rigs drilling here right now. The 2 rigs are following this hole up. So we announce the resource, we'd say it's more backwards looking. Last year we've been successful, we now have a new resource. But now for the next resource, if we're hitting world-class gold intercepts of this, then again, the analysts will have to start pricing that in, which is even further upside beyond the resource.
So that's the next catalyst. There is nothing before that you think would move.
Well, July is next month. I mean, so between now and then, it's going to be more drill results. The drill results is ongoing every few weeks. So drill results is the next big catalyst. But yeah, I think in terms of the study, it's the resource estimate. So this is July, and then the EIA permit approval end of this year. And then really in Q1, this will be the RIGI approval and the completion of the feasibility. And then by this time next year, we're looking to make a construction decision.
The analysts need solid figures to base, otherwise, I mean, they are not analysts, they are guess weather forecasters. Yeah, weather forecasters. Oh, weather forecasters, that's a good thing.
Yes, in the management report, you do it and you plan on doing it.
Yeah, great question. So as we're transitioning from an explorer to a developer, the question is, who have we hired recently and what are the plans on that side? So just over a year, or less than a year ago actually, we hired a senior VP projects and development. His name is Jeremy Whalen. He's been with us now for about a year. Very experienced. So my previous, back in the day, over 10 years ago, I was working on Lundin Mining, corporate development, investor relations. We hired Jeremy from Lundin Mining as well. He was now the head of technical services for Lundin Mining. And Lundin obviously is a very reputable company. He was the head of their technical services. But Lundin decided to move their office from Toronto to Vancouver, and he did not want to uproot his family and make that move. So he became available. We immediately hired him. So he's a great addition to our team. Prior to working at Lundin Mining, he was actually working at Kinross as well, in Chile, based in Chile at their La Coipa mine. And he's moved that to a feasibility study stage as well. So he has lots of experience. We also recently hired a project a director to help Jeremy. Boris, he's based in Argentina, and he was previously working for some of the lithium projects that have now been brought into production. So we've started the hiring process. If we go down the route of actually building this, starting next year, of course, we're going to need to ramp up the exploration, the development team. So we already have sort of plans in place to look to bring in a COO, Chief Operating Officer, and they could bring in their whole team. We would absolutely need to hire the right people, but for a project of this caliber, we don't think that that's any issue whatsoever. I think this will be able to attract the right people as they see the opportunity.
Ian,
Could
please.
you give us an idea of the size of the company in 5 years' time relative to gross BT and Pan-American silver?
Great. Oh, perfect.
I don't know if it's a good question,
I'll
but
skip ahead. Yeah, that's a great question.
Yeah.
So in terms of the projection, how big would this company be? I mentioned this mine alone, I mean, this project
If
alone.
it's still around.
If it's still around, or if we're acquired, yeah. I think when you look at us, so this slide here shows you us. Of course, we're a developer relative to all the major publicly traded silver producers. So these are companies currently producing, and you can graph their production. So you can see a lot of these that trade between 1 to 2 billion. A lot of these have been up you know, over the last few weeks. This slide's a couple months old now. So their market caps will be approaching 2 billion plus. But you can see, to be a sizable mid-tier producer, you're producing about 10 million ounces in total. And so a lot of these companies have multiple mines, of course, not just one mine. So 10 million ounces really qualifies you as a mid-tier producer. And then the large-scale producers are 30, 40 million ounces. Obviously, some of the biggest in the world would be north of that. But then you can see, I mean, Hecla, over $4 billion US. They're producing, you know, close to 40 million ounces. So our project right now, we have a 600 million market cap. We'll be producing close to, again, 17 million ounces silver equivalent. And so the way we rank is once we're in production, I mean, we would, I would say easily rank well above any of these guys. And the reason for that is when you look at cash costs as well, we'd be the lowest cost silver producer out there, publicly traded. And so right now, Mag Silver is being acquired. Prior to that, Silvercrest was on this map. They were the lowest cost producer. They were acquired last year. Gatos was another silver producer. They were acquired last year. Mag is currently being acquired, so they're going to be removed here in a couple months once that deal closes. And so, yeah, who's left? I mean, when you're looking at a project producing this much at those types of cash costs, you can see the projected, you know, market cap could easily be $3-4 billion US. So lots and lots of upside. And myself and the board, we talk about this on a quarterly basis. Obviously, as we go ahead, there's big risks involved. If you're going to be raising $500 million and hiring a bunch of people and moving this project forward, but the reward is incredible. Instead of 600 million, if you could be 4 billion, 5 billion, there's a big carrot. So we're evaluating, do we go down the road of building this ourselves and hiring all the key pieces to help us advance this? But at the same time, if somebody, one of these companies or anybody else elects to make a highly attractive offer, there's obviously you know, a good reward there with very little risk. So we'll evaluate those down the road. But right now, this is in motion to advance this ourselves, build this, hire the team, get this in production, and that could really help us in a few years' time, once this is in production, be a totally different size and scale of a company. Very good. So yeah.
Knowledgeable question.
Perfect. Yeah, so RIGI was signed into law in July of last year, and it's currently in effect, as I mentioned. It's expiring July 2026. And this is done at the federal level. So this is under President Milei. His next election is not until 2027. And so this is still under his term. And so we're going to be applying before the next federal election. So we're going to be applying for this in Q1. It's coming up. It's 9 months away. We'll be applying. We expect to receive approval in Q1 2026. So it's still under the current administration. Milei was elected until 2027. So there'll be no change in government. And with the provincial midterm elections, those are already underway. Those will be finalized in October. But they've already had midterm elections in the city of Buenos Aires fairly recently, a few weeks ago. President Milei's party recently gained an additional 11 seats, I believe, in sort of the legislation in Buenos Aires City.
There's no political threat.
There's no, not under the current, between now and Q1, Milei's party can only gain more seats. So with the provincial election right now, he has nobody that's up for re-election. His party is brand new. It just came in 2 years ago. And so the elections are every 4 years. So for this midterm election, it's how many more seats is his party going to gain? How much more power is Milei? That's there's zero chance that he loses power. It's how much more power is he going to gain? And based on the Buenos Aires elections recently, I mean, in a part of the country where he's never had, you know, it's more Peronista, it's more socialist, it's like the Washington, D.C., out of obviously Argentina. That is the establishment. And he's already gained an additional 11 seats there. So I think the outlook is very good that his party gains significant power in the midterm. But even if nothing changes, even if he doesn't gain an additional seat, we're going to receive this approval in Q1. So there's no risk. And once you get it, it's a 30-year stability agreement. Yes, yes.
I noticed you didn't
Just to add
the
one,
gold to
Ian,
silver ratio,
no way to stop in English.
The silver price has picked up,
Yes.
but the gold price is way ahead. But most people don't believe in the gold to silver ratio, and maybe it's not always relevant to developers. But what is your opinion about the current ratio?
So yeah, question on gold-silver ratio. Of course, gold's been outperforming for many years. I don't have a slide on that, unfortunately. But yeah, no, gold's been outperforming many years now because of central bank buying, etc.
But very recently, silver.
Yes, but very recently, yeah, last week I think silver has now started to outperform. Breaking above $35 an ounce was a key sort of technical barrier there. It's been frustrating the last few years where silver was always up against the ceiling. Now we've finally broken through. And so, yeah, when you look at, again, more historically, silver-gold ratio is 60 to 1, 70 to 1. Now it's still closer to 100 to 1.
It's been 50 to 1, my friend.
I know. Yeah, no, it's been... So the outlook is for silver to be a lot stronger than gold as we revert to the mean over time. But we have gold and silver, 50-50.
Things that surprised me was simply that you showed you the and you had a gold.
Statistics, Rajiv, silver, 12 months, 22% up. Gold, 44% up. Cherchez la faute. Well, look what happened. I mean, it's still a lot to catch up. And as I said in another, I still remember when the ratio gold to silver was 50 or below. Today is 91 or 92, but it was up to 100. And by the way, some other people who like statistics, usually each time there is 100, I'm not sure about these things. People are elaborating. There is a signal for a forward recession.
Exactly, and this is why I asked you a question, because we're expecting not only a recession, some even talk about a depression in the economy.
So, yeah. So look, internally we don't have like a macroeconomist forecast. Certainly I'm not forecasting any commodity prices. A lot of our investors, a lot of the funds I speak with all believe silver is going to continue to do well. Again, we talked about the silver-gold ratio, talked about the silver deficit, which is over 200 million ounces a year of demand greater than supply. So there's lots of reasons why you could expect silver to do well. But I think the best way to answer your question is assume the downside scenario, which is this. I think our base case scenario in the pre-fees is extremely conservative. So if you assume silver goes back to long term, $25, you assume gold goes back almost half, gold drops by half to $2,000, this project is still very economic. So, 30% almost after tax rate of return, $1 billion net present value, 2-year payback. So even if tomorrow gold went down 40%, silver dropped that much, this is still a project that's going to move forward. So I think that's really the best way is, if silver goes to $50, then we're talking about billions and billions. If silver goes to $100, the figures get crazy. But you have to look at the downside scenario. Right now, this project, on a per-share basis, would have a net present value of almost $7 a share, under $2,000 gold, $25 silver. We're trading at $4 Canadian a share. So even, we don't need silver to go to the moon for this project to work. Obviously, at current silver prices, you can see what the economic is. $16 a share, that was based on our pre-feasibility study resource. So when you run the net present value under, again, this whole resource here, where was it? So this was $16 a share. We've added already 20,000 meters of drilling. We're going to be updating the numbers. We expect the numbers are going to improve significantly. And now we're drilling on top of this. So with low gold and silver price, there's, you get a sense as to the value. Sorry?
Why would you take the price at this price?
Why would I?
Hedge.
Hedge? Not at this stage. So with our project financing, until we
You'll be very profitable.
yeah, no, absolutely. So with the project financing, when we look to take on debt, right now, why would we hedge? I mean, people invest us for higher silver prices. But when we look to construct this, we have to raise 500 million. If we do project financing and they request some hedging, yeah, we'll evaluate that. So we're open to it, but not now. No, we don't need to hedge for any reason right now. Good. Yes.
You mentioned CapEx,
Yes.
544.
Yes.
Last year was 373.
Yes.
And you have no evaluation of reserves since then.
Yes.
So what's the reason?
So we updated, excellent question. So we updated the capital costs. I'm not sure if I have the appendices here. So we redid the pre-feasibility study to update essentially CapEx, OpEx, and include RIGI. So when RIGI was announced in July, we updated the capital costs and we reflected all of the inflationary pressures. The $370 million CapEx historically was a bit out of date, to be honest. So that was a few years ago. The current capital cost reflects all that pressure. So you can see the changes here. So surface mining again. Now we think going forward, this figure will drop. So as we connect to the grid power line, that could take off 60 million. As we don't buy the 26 fleet, so for surface mining, that includes we buy all the trucks. We're only going to buy the trucks for moving ore. That reduces significantly CapEx. And even some of the site infrastructure. So you can see the changes here were outlined. But yeah, I think the FX recent changes in Argentina added to the inflationary pressures. We added, a bigger camp, more busing, more catering. 50 million was reclassifying waste into ore. So it's, there was a number of changes there, but the current estimate is fully up to speed. It reflects the current inflationary pressures.